How do Salesforce admins customize the Salesforce platform to solve business problems?
Awesome Admin!
Welcome to How I Solved It, where we dive into a business challenge and show how one awesome admin chose to solve it. I'm Jillian Bruce, Principal Admin Evangelist at Salesforce, and today I am joined by awesome admin Karmel James. Welcome, Karmel.
Thanks for having me, Jillian. So happy to be here.
Well, I am so happy that you're here because on the show today, we're going to talk about a super important admin skill, problem solving. We've got a great demo in store and lots of awesome tips and tricks to share. But before we go any further, I need to quickly share our forward-looking statement. This is a reminder to make all of your purchasing decisions based on currently available technology. All right, with that out of the way, let's get going. Now, Karmel, you've been an admin for 7 years. Why is problem solving such an important skill for admins?
Problem solving to me is the foundation of being an administrator. Every day, we're tasked with collecting information from users and stakeholders regarding the issues that they're experiencing so that we may assist them with a better user experience. Ultimately, Salesforce admins have to solve problems every day. But since not all problems are created equal, some days we'll be trying to solve why a user can't access a specific record. Other days, it'll be how to design a new automation for the business. Each of these require different approaches by boosting your creativity and decision-making skills. It's possible to become better at solving all types of problems.
So, Karmel, being a good problem solver is also all about being proactive in order to identify potential issues and ultimately avoid problems, right?
Oh, absolutely. You want to be proactive in doing things like monitoring different processes, checking on security controls, and keeping track of the data in the system. And if you do happen to find any potential issues, you also want to be proactive in communicating that with your stakeholders.
Yes, I mean, communication is a huge part of being a Salesforce admin, especially when you're working with a lot of stakeholders, multi-step business processes, and large amounts of data. It can be quite a challenge.
Oh, absolutely, Jillian. Data management is definitely a large part of any Salesforce admin's role. I mean, I can't count the number of times a user has come to me with a problem and needed help creating an automated process to manage data better.
I'd love to hear more about one of these in particular. Can you show me the steps you took to solve one specific user request?
Sure, Jillian. Let me show you how I solved it. Now, our company sends out a lot of different communications to customers from different departments, which we capture all on the contact record. Here in this list view, you'll see all of the different customers that are subscribed to our different newsletters, as well as which ones they are not subscribed to. Now, let's say, for example, we take John here. John decides that they no longer want to receive Insider's Corner. As soon as that checkbox is marked untrue, immediately a new task is created and assigned to one of the members on the marketing team to tell them that, hey, you need to go and schedule this call 3 days from now. And by 3 days, I mean 3 business days.
So, Karmel, hold on. I love that you put in 3 business days because especially someone like me who likes to go and unsubscribe from everything at the same time, sometimes I uncheck those boxes and then I realize I'm missing out on something I actually need. But if you call me on the weekend, I'm definitely going to double opt out.
Oh, absolutely. And we don't want you to receive that call on the weekend. In addition, we have a field here that is specifically to relate a new case that we've created so that way we can keep track of how many of these unsubscribes have taken place and how long is it taking us to actually resolve them. So you have all the information here as well as a really well-written description telling you exactly which unsubscribes took place. Here, you can see with Insider's Corner, that was the one unsubscribed to, while our other newsletter, Quarterly Financials, had no change in the subscription.
Okay, so now that we've got that unsubscribe taking place, what happens next, Karmel?
Well, the next thing I'm going to do is if I'm making this phone call, I'm actually going to talk to you, and then, of course, I'm going to update my task records with the information about what we talked about. In this example with John said, great, resubscribe me. So we'll put all of that detail on the task record. Then we'll go ahead and update the subscription updated needed checkbox to be marked true, as well as change the status to completed.
Okay, so you just did a lot right there. You captured all of this information about the resubscription, the conversation you had right there in Salesforce. Then what happens?
After you check those two fields and hit save, you'll get a new task created reminding you to actually go and update that contact record so that we can get John resubscribed. I'll go ahead and update John's contact record right now. We'll change Insider's Corner to be marked as true again so that they can continue to receive that newsletter. And in addition, I want to go and close out this open task record. So I'm going to go ahead and change the status to issue resolved. As soon as the task is marked as issue resolved, the case is automatically going to be updated to close. Here you see that that status is marked as closed, and it was just at the click of a button.
All right, so that was a lot of automation that happened right there. Just by marking that task as issue resolved, this happened automatically with the case. What else happens, Karmel?
Well, we also want to make sure that everyone on the marketing team knows that we were able to resubscribe John. So we have another automation that just sends a quick message to the marketing channel saying, hey, we were able to resubscribe John, and if you wanted to take a look, here's a link to the case record.
Well, that was really slick, Karmel, but I think there was a lot that kind of happened there. So there was a lot of automation between updating the task, updating the case, updating the marketing channel. Can you show us a little bit more about how you did that?
Absolutely. Let me show you my flow.
Flows. I love flows. Show me the flow.
Now, just as it's important to keep good, clear communication, it's also important to have really well-written names in your flows. As you can see here, mine identifies that it's record triggered and it only runs on update only. Now, because we have multiple automations running in this flow, I actually start out with a decision criteria to say which action should we be looking for. And for this one, we have two. Our first decision outcome is considering what happens when a task record's status is changed to completed and that subscription updated needed checkbox is marked true. Our second decision is what happens when a task record has the status also updated to issue resolved.
Okay, so you've got your two decisions. What is the next level here in the flow?
Well, let's take a look at what happens if you do get that subscription updated checkbox marked as true. Here, I have an assignment variable taking place that's going to assign all of the values for the task record that gets created to remind you to go and update that contact record after you've had your phone call.
I like it. You're pulling the data that already exists so you don't have to duplicate that manual entry. I love that.
Absolutely. And then we're using a create records action to take that record variable that had all of our assignments and go and create that record. Now that's just the first part of the automation. Remember, we still have what happens when there's issue resolved. So the first thing that we have to do, because we want to update a case, but we're actually triggering this off of task record, the first thing is we have to go and find that case. So we use a get records action to actually take the ID that is in our task records related to field and say, use this to go and search for our case record. And of course, we only need one record and we want all of the field values. Next, we'll take this time to actually go and update the marketing team so that they can say, yes, success, we got a resubscription. So we have a formula field that is used to actually create our text template that's in the message, as well as a constant variable that stores our marketing channel's record ID. Lastly, we have our final action, which is the update record action. In this case, I chose to do it slightly differently than the assignment. Since I'm only updating the status field on the case record, I felt like this was fine instead of going through a whole assignment variable. So I'm just saying here, go ahead, update the case record using the ID from our get record action, and then change that status to closed.
Thank you, Karmel, for showing us that great demo and showing us how you solved it. Now, Karmel, another thing we saw in your amazing demo was data management and how it's all about creating processes to ensure that data in Salesforce is managed correctly. Because often this data, as you showed, is being used by different parts of the businesses to make important decisions. What are some best practices that you can share about ensuring data in Salesforce is managed correctly?
Keeping Salesforce as the main source of truth for all customer and sales data keeps that super easy because it's all in one place. And then after that, setting up different validation rules and processes to proactively prevent data duplication. And of course, periodically checking and rechecking different integrations, packages, and other tools are correctly configured to send information to Salesforce.
Okay, well, on top of data management, as admins, we're also often tasked with translating business requirements into technical solutions. That's kind of like the admin magic. Now, we saw that in your demo, but to do this requires really great communication skills. Do you have any advice to share on how admins can communicate effectively with their stakeholders?
Well, starting out with building really strong relationships with your internal stakeholders is going to be key. They're going to feel comfortable coming to you and talking to you about their issues. And of course, then regularly scheduling a Salesforce stakeholder meeting to review the different business needs and processes and technical requirements all in one place. And then lastly, continue to deliver regular training sessions to new Salesforce users.
Well, this has been so fun, Karmel. Thank you so much for being our guest today on How I Solved It. Now, if you'd like to learn more about what you saw in today's episode, please visit admin.salesforce.com. With that, I'm Jillian Bruce, and I'll catch you next time in the cloud.